When Bonface Karaoke was shot, social media went abuzz demanding for justice to happen so that the killer of Bonface Karaoke, the rock cop, should be brought to justice. And unfortunately, after praying that he gets out of ICU safely, he has succumbed to his injuries. The question is, until when will this continue? We got the opportunity to sit down with Joakim Simiyu, a vocal member of Bunge La Mwananchi. He has been trending on social media for his various remarks, and we got to discuss about police brutality, the governance of President William Ruto, and what next for his government. Will he come back in 2027? And if he doesn't, who will succeed him? Will the opposition leaders be able to succeed him? Or will he successfully come back and maybe change the way he's governing so that can be on good terms with the Kenyan people? Join me for this wonderful conversation. And if you don't agree with the comments that will be made in this show, kindly up in the comment section, give us your comments. Tuambie, what are some of the things that can happen so that Kenya can be a peaceful nation, and so that even the Gen Z generation who are demanding for justice to be done and police brutality to end can also get to see this happen in their generation. Mr. Joakim.
Yes.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
First of all, thank you for accepting our invite. Sisi ni channel ndogo lakini when we reached out to you, umetukaribisha.
Yes.
And maybe this is not the first time. I hope utakuja tena na tena.
There will be more and more.
As we improve.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. Firstly, kuna sad news that we've received that Bonface Karaoke has sadly passed on. It has been confirmed ametuacha.
Yes.
How does this shape now the case to bring justice to Bonface Karaoke? Kama ange survive, will it have impacted in any way the police officer who shot him? Ama says even he's now dead, it's now a confirmation that the police officers who did this lazima wataface justice.
When you look at the video where Boniface Mwangi was shot, it was deliberate. The police was not shooting Boniface for him to remain alive. He was shot to be killed. And now that Boniface is dead, actually the police that shot Boniface has achieved what he wanted. I am of the view that Boniface Karaoke did not die today. He died the same day he was shot. But because of the heat and the clamor for justice about Albert Ojwang, I am persuaded to believe that the government deliberately held on to the news about Boniface's death, waited for the June 25th protests to be finished before they announced his death. And I said immediately June 25th will pass, you will get news that Boniface Karaoke is dead. It has happened. So actually, even if he survived, the case of police brutality is still there. It is something we must all be up in arms to condemn. This is a man who was only armed with masks. He was shot when he was in surrender mode. He was not putting the life of the police officer at any risk. He had not been ordered to be arrested, and he did not decline to be arrested. This was a guy trying to make a living, even though the situation was not so beckoning. And the police officer saw it fit to shoot him in cold blood. Such are the things why some of us are out here making noise.
But Mr. Joakim, don't you think when you say that Boniface died on the same day that he was shot, and the government chose to hide it, don't you think that's a serious allegation against the government? Because why will the government do such a thing, to lie about the life of a Kenyan citizen?
You know, this is a government that is murderers. There is nothing they can't do. I just told you that they were trying to avoid the colliding of the two cases, the Albert one and this one. So to manage the temper of people as we approached June 25th. Remember, the same government that you are saying I'm making serious allegations against, it's their police who shot Bonface with apparently no reason. So if they had shot him, what would stop them from hiding the news about his death? This government is capable of doing nearly everything. So when I saw the breaking news today, it wasn't breaking news to me. I knew somehow when they publish information that your brain is dead, what does that mean? When your brain is dead, you are dead.
But they were saying that he could survive on life support machine.
Which means it's the machine that was making the impression that he's still alive. If he wasn't dead, wangemtoa kwa life support machine for an hour to one. When your brain dies, you're dead.
If you have a wedding, baby shower, birthday party, or even a corporate event and you need media services, well, look no further than Safari Lens Media Production. Safari Lens Media Production is a media company that offers editing, videography, photography, graphic design services, and also live streaming. So if you have any event, contact Safari Lens Media Production. And I promise you, what I deliver, they'll do you good. They are professional, they offer professional services, and I'm sure you'll also like it.
The brain dies fast.
Yeah.
And when your brain dies, you're dead. That's why when you're shot in the head, you don't feel pain. Because the bullet has tempered with the functioning of the brain. The central nervous system is not functioning anymore.
Yeah. But also, on the same case of police brutality, people might say that they're blaming the government squarely because of the police brutality on Albert Ojwang's case and also on Bonface Kariuki's case. But the police now is an independent body on itself. Even the president himself, he said that he can't order the police. Even Murkomen, when he publicly came out to say that police must shoot to kill, he later on came out and clarified that police is an independent body and he cannot issue direct orders. Don't you think when you blame the government squarely because of police brutality, are we not being unfair to the government? Why don't you blame the police itself?
What were the statements of President about police brutality? He said that he will stand with the police. The police is a department within the executive. So how do you say the police are independent when they brief the president every morning? Why don't they just do their thing? The president is the commander of all armed forces, which when we blame the police, which is an armed force, he should also, the buck stops with him.
Yeah.
So the independence of our institutions is only on paper. The institutions are weaponized against the people at the convenience of the government. So you do not expect us not to hold the government accountable, because still it's the promise of President Ruto at the time he was campaigning that there will be no police brutality, state capture, and extrajudicial killing during his time in power. Which means, in one way or the other, he would have control. So when it happens under his watch, what do? We remind him of his promise that you said there will be no such things happening. Now they are happening.
Yeah.
What do you have to do about it? But instead, when we ask questions, the response is brutal with batons, bullets, water cannon. That cannot be acceptable in a democratic country.
Yeah.
That's why majority of the young people feel that the president and his government has outlived their usefulness. Therefore, they should vacate their offices and we choose other people who have the urge to work for the Kenyan people.
Yeah.
That is it.
Finally, as we finalize this issue on police brutality, the Gen Z generation feels that the government is not hearing their cry.
Yes.
And the Gen Z's cry is that this police brutality should end. Because when the Gen Z are demanding for their rights, the government is retaliating with police brutality. What do you think is the right means to handle the cry of the Gen Zs? What can the government do so that the Gen Zs can feel that now the government is hearing our cry?
Right now, there's nothing the government can do. All they can do is leave, because we have given them time. They have not adhered to the cries of the young people. It's 1 year since last year, at the climax of the Gen Z demonstrations, we highlighted the issues we wanted to be handled. But 1 year down the line, nothing has happened. The president came and made a promise that no one will be allowed to do harambes in church. The following Sunday, he did a harambe. What does that tell you? He fired all the members of the cabinet according to what we wanted. He rehired them back. We said that austerity measures must be adhered to. He's renovating State House every financial year. So we feel like the deafness of government is by design. They have made a decision not to listen to the young people. And that should be a very big red flag.
Yeah. And also, don't you think for the government itself, why does the government don't want to react the right way? Because right now there are some talks that the government wants now to regulate demonstrations, such that whoever calls for a demonstration will be liable to any damage that happens.
There's a tweet made by Sifuna today that we have one of the clueless governments since independence. People are demonstrating. What would you do? The first thing would be to think about, why are people demonstrating? Why are they coming into the streets when they know they can be shot? Instead of addressing the issues, listening to them and attending to the needs that they are raising, they are now thinking of regulating demonstrations. We will oppose this bill they have brought in Parliament by demonstrating. The government should not be thinking of gagging people and preventing them from coming into the streets. They should be thinking about, what have we done wrong and what can we do right? Otherwise, nothing they are doing will stop us from asking what belongs to us.
But Mr. Simiyu, when you say like that, don't you think then the government is getting it all wrong? Because from the top, some of the top government officials, they're saying that the Gen Z protest is an attempted coup, in quotes. So if they see it as an attempted coup, then they'll react to it.
They are getting it all wrong. You know, you don't teach an old dog new tricks. And the government that we have is an old dog. They do not believe that people can organize organically and come into the streets. They are made to believe that for people to fill the street, there must be someone responsible, but they are not bringing forth the person they are accusing of the responsibility of organizing demonstrations. Now they go sit in Parliament and discuss personalities like Rigathi Gachagua, accusing him of organizing demonstrations when it's an organic, spontaneous eruption of long pent-up frustrations, the young people. So, as I say, when you are clueless, you will always get things wrong. And you can see the government that we have is proving to everyone in the world that it's clueless by how they are responding to the issues we are raising.
So does that mean that when the government gets it wrong, does it mean that it's the National Intelligence Service that is not giving the right information to the president? Or is it that the president is getting this information, but he's handling it in a political way so that he doesn't seem to be not performing?
When you have wrong people doing the job for you, you will always get wrong results. When you are a competent government, you employ competent employees. But because we have incompetent government, they have an incompetent arm of even intelligence. Or maybe the intelligence is okay, but the reaction to it could be wrong. So when we say government has failed, it's everyone. NIS, DCI, police, everyone. So when we say Ruto must go, we are saying he must go together with every other thing that he represents. Everyone who thinks and acts like him will go. We are in a country of 50 million people. We cannot run out of an alternative to come lead this country.
Don't you think the people who are saying that Ruto must go, are they not being unfair to him? Because if, let's say, for example, if say that he has people around him who are incompetent, then that makes him not incompetent, I say. Or is it that he's the one who appointed these incompetent people, now that so now he has to carry the burden of this government?
The government, the president has done a lot of changes in his governance system. Has reshuffled members of parliament, members of the cabinet. He has changed nearly everyone. We changed the deputy president. We have changed the cabinet nearly thrice, but we still have the same results. Do you know why? Because we still have one person as the president. So if the president can come forward and complain about the incompetence of the people he appointed, what does that say about him? If every time you employ an employee who cannot work, every time when we give you a chance to pick someone who can do the job, you pick a wrong person. It means you are not good at the job of picking people who should be working. So what do? For us to get someone who can pick people who can actually work for the people, then we should change him.
But when you say like that, that he's the one who's picking the wrong people, we have a department like the Public Service Commission. Then what's the role of the Public Service Commission when it comes to disappointments? Don't they advise the president?
It's because they respond on his beck and call. They're not an independent institution. They do what the president says. Parliament has been pocketed. The judiciary also doesn't get the confidence of the people. So we are saying it's not just him. The fish rots from the head down. So once you get the rotten head of the fish, most probably a large part of the fish is rotten.
Still on the reshuffles, as you've mentioned it, we see that every time he reshuffles cabinet secretaries or PSs, most of them, he usually appoints political figures. Why doesn't he go the Uhuru way for the first time, that he was using more technocrats, the likes of Matiang'i, of George Magohas? Why is it that Ruto is not using the technocrats in his government for CS positions, but he's preferring to go more of politicians?
Because he's not the kind of person who can go for technocrats. Every time you hear the president has met someone at State House, he doesn't meet people who can actually help him do anything. He meets politicians who have made MCS from Okambani, have made so-and-so from here. There is no way, no time, he has ever had a meeting with people leading professional bodies. I've never heard the president say, today I had a meeting with architects in State House. I've never heard him say, today I had a meeting with medical practitioners. I've never heard him say, today I had a meeting with young people who are unemployed to hear what they say. He always meets people who cannot help him redeem himself. That's why even his appointments are worrying. You see, so the confidence of the people in their government is less than 30%. Because even the person supporting this government, when they lock themselves up in a room, they know they are supporting our own government. They know that the kind of government they have today is not the kind of government that is giving an opportunity for us to birth the country that we envisioned. So, for you to support this government, first of all, you have to be very selfish. Just think about yourself. We have a government that is using private means to respond to a public problem. When we have a case where we have a bad road, you do not respond to that problem by buying many gumboots. You make sure the road is okay so that even that person who does not afford a gumboot can walk without struggle. But when you use a private solution to a public problem, you are not actually getting it right.
Yeah.
And so what we are doing, we are very non-violent. The way you see, I can't even hurt a fly.
Yeah.
But there are two things. There is offensive violence and defensive violence. When I start punching you right now, you will try to defend yourself. And the best way of defense is attack. You attack me so that when I feel pain, I will not be attacking you.
Yeah.
So if the government comes to us with batons and bullets, what do? We defend ourselves with things that we can get. So when we protest, it's entirely upon the government to decide whether the protests will be peaceful or not.
Yeah.
If they do not come to us with the tear gassing, shooting people who are unarmed, we have no business being violent. But what do you expect when you are pushing people to the wall? They will retaliate. That's the case we have. Today, they are only telling us that we will ban the country, there will be anarchy. But their actions are the ones that are bringing anarchy in the country. As I said,
Yeah.
we have a country where nearly 60% cannot afford a meal, cannot afford 3 meals in a day. 60% of the Kenyans are living below the poverty line. The government has created an environment where there are people who have nothing to lose apart from their miserable lives. And when you put something with nothing to lose on the wall, they will come for you. At least they should create an environment where when an individual thinks of protesting, they think about their M-Pesa stall. When you think of coming to the streets, you think about your bookshop. When you think of protesting, you think about your Uber, the vehicle you use to transport people. But if you've created an environment where people are completely poor, then what do you expect? What do they have to lose? When this country burns, a good number of people have nothing to lose apart from their own lives.
But hey, Mr. Simiyu, you cannot say that people have nothing to lose. People have families, the people who have property, even if it's not a majority, but there's a percentage of people who have it. And then, let me finish. And then also, when the president speaks, especially after all this criticism, nowadays he's usually so loud to say he himself what he has done. He mentions the affordable housing, he mentions the lowering of fertilizers, he mentions that the economy is now stable, is growing at, 9% GDP. What? He himself, he defends himself because he doesn't understand why, according to him, in his manifesto he had the affordable housing, he's implementing it. Fertilizers is in the manifesto, he's implementing it. But he's saying that the general public is still not satisfied. Is it because he's focusing on the right issues, yes, but at a wrong time or in a wrong generation that needs different things, not the fertilizers and the affordable housing?
According to your question, there are two things. Is either the president is working and we are not seeing, or is either the president is working and we are not seeing, or he's not working and we are seeing. It's either he's working and we are not seeing, or he's not working and we are seeing. When we talk about housing, how does housing help you as an individual? How has it translated to an tangible economic value to the people? It has not solved any problem. They told us that housing will employ young people. They will be given tenders of supplying building materials. Has that happened? He just launched 1080 units at Mukuru Kwanjenga. I was there the following day after he had left. The gate was closed. People who had been given keys the previous day could not access the premises. So, is it possible that he's right and we are all wrong? It cannot be that way. When he says that he's working, what is he working on? Have you ever seen Safaricom say M-Pesa is working? No. Why? Because everyone can see it. But when he says Shah is working, is it us to tell him or him to tell us?
It's the citizens.
When did he last go to seek medical attention in a public hospital? No day.
But he has advisors.
He has advisors who have no reality about the ground. Advisors who have completely no clue on what to do to salvage Kenya from the situation we are in. So, like you've said, he wonders why are Kenyans not satisfied with what he's doing. Because from where I sit, he has done everything he can ever do. There is nothing else he can do. He's stretched his elasticity of the brain to the maximum. So we don't expect anything else. What he has done is the best he can do. And it has not addressed the issues the people want. The people have not complained about houses. No one. If you go to the streets and ask anyone if housing is a problem, no one. Why build houses for the people? Why don't you work on programs that makes people make money so that you can decide for yourself where to set up a house? Why don't you empower the private sector so that they can identify the market need for themselves? If the issue is housing and there is a booming private sector in business, they will identify. And then private people will build houses for the people. You are saying you're building houses for the people from Mukuru Kwanjenga. Who told you someone from Mukuru wants to live on a house in 9th floor?
But the president says that he wants to elevate the slums.
How do you elevate the slums by not providing income for the people? If you struggle paying rent of 2,500 shillings, how will you manage 39? And we also have service charges because gas near pipe, hiyo nyumba iko na lift, kuna stima, pipe to water, which brings the charges of staying in that house close to 5,000 to 6,000. This is someone who struggles to pay 25,000. And even the whole process of housing is wrong. So when we identify issues and we bring them, the president, his main problem is that he thinks he's the most clever person more than anyone. When you mention a problem about education, he knows how to deal with it. When you talk about health, he knows how to deal with it. When you say about agriculture, he knows how to deal with it. When you talk about security, he's an all-knowing president.
But I can support him and say he benefits from the advice of the NIS and also his advisors.
The advice of the people he employed, which means he employed people he's comfortable with. If you want concrete advice from people who have the ability to advise, you will go for them.
Finally, Mr. Joakim, as we finish on this topic of the presidency and all, what is his future looking like? Let's say when he comes again for a second term, because from what I get is that the common mwananchi is complaining because pesa mingi inatolewa kwa mfuko kuliko yenye inaingia kwa mfuko. Do you think when the president is re-elected again, come 2027, should he change his economic model?
He failed in his first term, and he has no intention of changing his economic model, and therefore he's not going to get a second term. That you should take it to the nearest bank and bank it. There is no second term. Absolutely not.
But you can't say that now. 27 bado. Na debe iko hapo, everyone will buy.
It's a decision we have made, and there is no changing mind about it.
But if you listen to the president, he's very confident that ni kumi bila break.
His confidence is pretentious. How else do you think, do you want him to portray himself in the public? He should show us that he's there and confident, but he has panicked. For you to know that he has panicked, we still have a razor wire at Parliament. We still have tension in the city. You can see welding people are making strong grill doors for the business stores. Why? Because we have a problem. We have a youth bulge. People with no jobs. Any slight opportunity for them to make a living, they will grab it with their own hands. So if he's working, who is he working for? Why are we not seeing? Is it because we are blind or something? No, you can't be right and every other person is wrong. No.
Sir, so if now the thing is now he's not coming back for another term.
He's not.
Let's say that if it happens,
it's not a question of if, it is when. It is when. There is no coming back. Second term, labda shule ndugu yangu.
But you can never say never though. There's that eventuality. If he's re-elected again, or if he's not re-elected then,
yes.
How do you see the succession politics looking like? Because currently when you look at the opposition, it's like Gachagua is emerging as a strong candidate for the presidency, Matiang'i is also emerging, Kalonzo is also emerging. Of the three, who do you think can make a better president?
No one in those people you've mentioned carries the promise of making Kenya a better country. You need to know that we have three categories of people in the country right now. One is the category led by President and Raila Odinga on one side. Then we have, let me take you back a few minutes. In the last elections, the presidential candidates had their deputies. William Ruto had Rigathi Gachagua as his deputy. Raila Odinga had Martha Karua, and Wajakoya had Justina Wamae.
If you have a wedding, baby shower, birthday party, or even a corporate event and you need media services, well, look no further than Safari Lens Media Production. Safari Lens Media Production is a media company that offers editing, videography, photography, graphic design services, and also live streaming. So if you have any event, contact Safari Lens Media Production. And I promise you, what I deliver, they'll do you good. They are professional, they offer professional services, and I'm sure you'll also like it.
Today, the flag bearers are in government and their deputies are in opposition. Rigathi Gachagua, who was a running mate to William Ruto, is now emerging as a high priest of good governance in opposition. Martha Karua, who was with Raila Odinga, is in opposition. Kalonzo Musyoka, who was with Raila Odinga, again, as a principal in that coalition, is in opposition. Justina Wamae, who was a running mate to Wajakoya, is in opposition. So these are two same animals in two different forests. So we cannot say that the opposition that is being led by Gachagua will do anything different from what William Ruto is saying he is doing.
But you can't say like that because different leaders have different ideologies.
Yes, and I'm saying the reason why Gachagua agreed to work with Ruto in the first place is because he believed in the ideologies of William Ruto, and he did not resign from government. He was forcefully evicted from government. The government that the case that he's still pursuing in court. Which means there is no big difference between William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Martha Karua has been here from 1992 when she started being actively involved in politics. What I'm saying is, these two categories cannot birth a new Kenya that serves everyone. The third category is for you and me. The ordinary Kenyans that actually want real change. And we are the decision makers. We are the majority among the three categories I've mentioned. So even as we talk about succession of William Ruto will not come from the opposition. It will come from the majority of Kenyans who are looking for real change. I heard Gachagua say that in Mount Kenya kutakuwa na suti. Hiyo suti ndo imekuwa inatuletea shida mpaka saa hii.
Suit is the one the ODM call it 6-piece.
Yes. Yeah. We don't want that. Sa hiyo suti inatutesa hapa parliament. President akisema pitisha bill, suit. Finance bill, suit. We are going to have diversity of parties. You understand? People who have not been elected, some have never been elected, but they have shown they understand where the problem is. Such people are the ones that we are going to give an opportunity to lead this country. I can mention the governor of Trans Nzoia who is serving his first term. Looks like he understands what Kenyans want. Another person who has never been elected, I see how Jimmy Wanjigi speaks. He understands the economics of the country, where the problem is, where did we go wrong, how can we rectify the problem. This is a person who talks about the solution to the problem, not just sloganeering. Because as we say one term or half term, the next government, what are we coming to do differently from what William Ruto is doing? That's the biggest question in the Kenyan people.
So from what, sorry for cutting short, so from what I'm getting from you, you believe that the current crop of, as they call themselves, principles in the Kenyan politics, who have been there since the 90s, you feel that they are not the right solution for succeeding this current government, if at all they're defeated in the coming elections?
You do not solve a problem with the same level of thinking that created the problem. You do not ask for a solution from a person who caused the problem that you have. Anyone who served with Kanu, that if we take a photo of the politicians in the 90s, anyone who appears in that photo is a no.
But do you think the same way you're saying that we need a new crop of leaders? We've seen the likes of Kasmuel Mokore, the likes of Morara. When they came out, the same Gen Zs, some of them are saying that now these ones, wamekuja sana, they're betraying us, wamekula pesa, wamedanganya, wameingia kwa system.
There's nothing.
How do you now say that you need a new crop of leaders na wakiinuka wanagongwa kichwa?
People are very brilliant. And when you do something, even in the dark, people will realize. Someone like Mark Hure, Kasmuel, is now in ODM. He's working for someone who has been here and has not solved the problem. So he's being taught by that person to behave just like him. I don't have a lot about Morara. But again, when you're fighting for Kenyans, you should be ready for anything. You know, Kenyans are like people who grew up in an abusive home. Someone who was brought up by an abusive aunt. You didn't grow up with your parents. You were brought up by your aunt. And this aunt was abusive. You couldn't even get good food. So later in life, when you meet someone who shows genuine love for you, you think they have some ulterior motive. So Kenyans are so used to bad leadership that when they see someone who looks genuine, they are like, no. How comes he wants to be so good? So you should be ready to receive some backlash from the same Kenyans. And I don't blame them. It's because of the experience they have had.
Yeah.
When you're fighting for Kenyans, sometimes you'll be forced to use one hand. And you will use the other hand to defend yourself from the same Kenyans. So a new crop of leadership will emerge, and the results you will get from the ballot, it will be the results that have never been seen in this country since its inception. So Kenya should not lose hope. We are going to change this country together.
Yeah. So finally, as we are almost winding up, let's now focus on yourself now as Joakim.
Yes.
Watu wengi wamekujua na kwa mtandao wa Bunge La Mwananchi. That's the platform that watu wengi wamekuidentify nayo. And in our comments, in our platform mostly, people are saying that huyu jamaa anafaa kuwe bunge, these are the type of leaders we want. They're saying they love the way you're sober thinking and all. As for you, is leadership something that you'll want to venture into, or maybe elective politics? And maybe if so, unataka uanzie na MCA ukipanda, ama you feel that unafuku kwa bunge ndani?
Although that's a bridge that we will cross when we get there, but there is so much that's ahead of us. I will be actively involved in creating a country that I would want to grow up in a country that I'll be proud for my kid to grow up in. And so venturing into leadership positions in future is an option on the table. And we cannot just be complaining from the sidelines. We have to be inside there to make decisions that we have always wanted other people to make. So in Bunge La Mwananchi, as we speak, Bunge La Mwananchi is a platform that meets nearly on daily basis to discuss the governance and the running of the country. When you come earlier time, you will find people discussing social issues. Then we go to mainly political issues. We are only enjoying the gap that has been left by Parliament. It's the Parliament that should be doing this job. But there is that gap. Therefore, we have decided to fill it, even though we are not on anyone's payroll, but out of passion, out of patriotism. We wanted to be a voice of reason among chaos. That when people are engaging in shouting matches, we bring sobriety to remind the people that if we continue being noisy, we could end up making the wrong decision again. And therefore, within the noise, you should always take a step back, think about yourself, what is in it for you as you make this decision.
Yeah. And so for you guys at Bunge La Mwananchi, because a lot of people, when you listen to a majority of the people who usually take that platform to air out the grievances and also address issues, a lot of you make sense in a way that the common Mwananchi agrees. And we believe in leadership. Leadership is servant leadership. We serve the people that the common Mwananchi. Why is it that the government doesn't seem to actively participate in, maybe even if it's not funding you directly, but they don't seem to accommodate the Bunge La Mwananchi space holistically? Is it something that they're doing intentionally, or is it because they don't know which arm of government should come and handle Bunge La Mwananchi?
It's an issue of how do I describe this problem? People in government are very prickly, and accommodating Bungala Man in government is not something that should happen, because how can you be accommodated by someone you are criticizing? We have difference in ideology, the modus operandi of running the country. What we think should be happening is not what they think should be happening. So there is that point of departure. And that's why there is no much support from government, because they see us as the enemies. They see us as piranhas who are lurking in the shadows, ready to pounce on their meals. So you do not expect them to accommodate us. And we are not even complaining that we are not accommodated. We will form our own government because we have the power to chase these people away.
Yeah.
Yes.
Finally, tukimalizia, as you've said that kama government haiwezi accommodate, then at least they should at least hear what you're saying so that when kama wants to implement a thing or two. Finally, to the head of state, William Ruto, if maybe you had 30 seconds kukua naye physically, saizi, between now and 2027, what is this one thing that he can do to appease the people, the common Mwananchi, as we wrap up? Finally.
Stop killing us. That's what I will say. At least angetuacha na zile vitu tulikuwa tunaenjoy. Hangeharibu. Hata kama hakuna kitu angekuwa anafanya, hakufaa kuharibu what he found there. Alipata linda mama haiko. Alipata chakula ya wanajeshi ametoa. Ameharibu education system, healthcare amebadilisha. He wants to change everything. So if I met him today, I will say, prepare yourself to go home because we are coming.
Sawa.
Thank you very much.
That's your take?
That's my
take.
take.
As I also said, 2027 is still open for anyone. You can also run for president.
They say that politics one day is a long day.
Yeah, you never know.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Joakim, shukran. Thank you for giving us this time. Tumeshukuru sana. And I hope people who will be able to watch this interview, there are some who will agree with you, there are some who will not agree with you.
Yeah.
But at least for comment section, if you're watching and you have a contrary opinion to what Mr. Joakim is saying, tell us up what tutakuwa very, very willing to also communicate with you guys. Na pia sisi, as we grow as a channel, subscribe so that you can also subscribe and also watch more similar videos like this. Anyway, that has been my time. I've been Ochino, the Kenyan is a man, a boy, and also a friend. Amu kuna jambo ya kusema?